Saddam Hussein built 8 presidential palaces. We are in one of them, now used by the U.S. command to head up the military operation here for the coalition in Iraq. 450,000 square feet, more than 60 rooms, and this the main rotundo. BYA, because you asked, been asking for your email throughout the entire week. We got this a short time ago. This email comes in from Brian, Granada Hills, California, wondering about the $10 billion the U.S. is spending here in the country. His question goes like this: why can't the Iraq government pay a big chunk of the U.S. pledged $10 billion a month with their surplus? What is stopping the U.S. from benefiting from the oil in Iraq after all we have sacrificed? From what we understand, Brian, the Iraqi government has about a $70 to $80 billion surplus, in large part because of the price of oil lately. Nonetheless, we sent David McDougall out to figure out whether or not that's a possibility that Iraq can start paying for itself much better than we have seen so far. Here's McDougall in Iraq.
It's an uncomfortable equation for many. While the U.S. spends $10 billion each month in Iraq, the Iraqi government has amassed a budget surplus of up to $70 billion.
We cannot count on the generosity of American taxpayers forever. We recognize this thing. While we're grateful for what you have given us, we understand that at the end of the day, it's incumbent upon us to do what is right.
Behind the numbers, another story emerges from business leaders of an Iraqi government so cumbersome and tied in red tape, it can't effectively get even small amounts of cash to projects at street level.
Financial and administrative corruption is widely spread. There's a lack of efficient, qualified and experienced people to manage and execute investment projects.
One reason Iraq has such a large surplus is that some provinces were unable to spend their 2006 and 2007 budget allocations, which then overinflated the national coffers. As security improves, the government insists that money will now be spent. These days, ordinary Iraqis have a lot more money in their pockets and in their cash registers. But most people are aware that U.S. taxpayer dollars will only go so far, and Iraq will eventually have to become more financially independent.
Bill, and that message of financial independence really is getting through to Iraqis from the highest level, from Barham Salih, the Deputy Prime Minister you saw there, right through to traders on the ground who realise that Iraq will have to use more of its own resources as the country moves ahead and rely much less on the U.S. Bill?
Well, I was at the White House before coming out here talking about that very issue, David. They say there is no Hank Paulson in Baghdad. It's something they need. They need the system set up in order to distribute the money that you point out very well in your piece there. Thank you, David. Good to be with you and Courtney and the rest of the crew in Baghdad throughout the entire week here. David McDougall here in Baghdad. In a moment here, we'll get back to your emails, hemmer@foxnews.com, and to all our viewers at home, thanks for caring enough to send a note in. We're trying to figure this out along the way, just like you are at home, too. So thanks for that. Back to Megan now in New York. Are things settled down back there, Meg?
Yeah, they have a little